So, what we want to do in terms of these formats is to kind of just ask a bit of story about how the person that's sitting up here kind of started and what's their journey been so far. And then we'll share their current funnel or what they're working on. And then we can actually unpick that. And then we'll get some questions and ask around that. And it will allow us to bring this stuff to light. So,
thank you.
So how did it all kind of start off and when you got into your kind of coach, let's say what your business is and how do you get into it?
So I'm a divorce lawyer for my sins, and I was practicing traditionally, working on an hourly rate. I was quite happy doing what I was doing, but then I got divorced myself and suddenly you think, what the hell am I doing? I've got to do this better for my clients. So I decided to give up work and start my own business. And when I first came across Richard, I was working with couples, taking them through from start to finish together. And that went really well. We set up that program. It went really well. And then I didn't like it anymore because when you're working with couples that are conflicted, it's really tough. It's a really tough thing to do. But they got transformation. So I was not wanting to let it go. And then I thought, what else can I do? So then I set up a group program, which actually nobody does. So it's the first group program for people going through divorce. And that's a really interesting thing. When you set up something that is so new, there's a whole education piece that you need to go through. People need to understand how this works. So I set up this program. I was really happy with what I was doing and nobody bought. And I didn't know what to do. You know, you just get stuck and like, you're not selling anything. And then I came across Richard again and he was like, come and join me and let's see what we can do. So when I first started in January last year, I wasn't selling and I was getting a bit worried. And I was ready to give it up. I just thought, you know, go back to work. And I know that all of us have thought about this. Just go back to work. I can't do this. It's too hard. And then Richard comes along and makes it much harder. Sorry. And I just thought, I can't do this. What are you talking about, man? He said to me that I needed to do a masterclass every week. And I looked at him and went, no, I'm not doing it. You're mad. How can I do this every single week? It's not happening. And he went, do it. And I was like, I can't do it. It's hard. And I just took your advice and I just thought, look, I've tried it myself. It's not worked. I'm just going to do what Richard says. Well, mostly. All the time.
Don't do everything.
And 2 weeks later, I just thought, you know what? I'm not going to worry about perfection because I am a perfectionist. I'm just going to jump in. 2 weeks later, my first weekly moment happened. It wasn't perfect. I sort of prepped for it. I was a bit worried about doing this over 13 weeks. Like, how much prep can you do? I just jumped in and hated it. Hated it for 13 weeks. I was just like, what am I doing? Why is he making me do this? And then slowly it got easier and a little bit easier. And I could feel this excitement bubbling when I was in the weekly moment. And I think people started feeling that excitement that I was enjoying presenting this stuff. And actually it was easy. I've done it a few times now. It's not so hard to present anymore. So now it's about connections, not about what I'm presenting. Yeah. And then what I found from September, suddenly there's this flow. I've had so many people come along and then people are coming to me and booking calls and saying, I've seen you so many times. I just want to work with you. And suddenly the numbers started increasing and I hit my best month in November. And December, we generally don't do any business. It's a quiet month. And I had a really good December. And I'm just like, actually, I can see now why you made me do this. The flow is happening. The numbers are starting to creep up. I can't actually manage my sales calls anymore. They're increasing too much. So I've got other problems now. And I'm hoping Richard will help me with those. So
I love
me.
Fantastic. First of all, give a good round of applause there. We're going to ask some questions now. So thank you, and there's so much more to unpick here. But one of the things that you said that I loved there is that the first time round it's really messy when you're doing your 13-week cycle. When you're doing these messy, and you are worried about what you're saying and the tech and who's going to turn up. Now, the second time around, you're saying that it's different. You know, just explain that a little bit more and that just give us that feeling, bring that feeling to life.
The second time round, the tech's sorted because once you've set your Zoom up, it's done for the year. So I don't need to worry about the tech. And actually, people are hearing about it and they're just joining. But I think to myself, as long as every time I present this, I get that little bit better, just slightly better, I'm going to be fine. And so the second time round, it just flowed. I didn't need to worry too much. I think that you have to keep tightening up. So the year of simplicity to me is tightening up slightly on each one, making sure now I concentrate on getting people in the room. I'm not worrying about the moment. Like literally, I set up my laptop 5 minutes before I go live. So it's so much easier. And we're on a call at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. And literally, I just think, oh, it's fine. 5 minutes before I'll jump in. But all the work is there and it's just flowing. Now it's just flowing.
Yeah.
People just come and join because you've got your social media set up. You've got your email set up. There's not really anything to do, is there?
No.
And then I'm surprised when somebody comes along because I haven't actually done anything.
yeah, they
And I get about 30 in the room without really any work.
That's fantastic.
So this year I might put some work in.
No, well, but you did the work. That's the point. The system is the work. It's building it out first. You know, once you build that 13-week cycle and you have the emails and you have the automations in place. Now, I also like when you were saying when you're in there, you can just have a bit of fun with it. I don't know about you, but I feel like you can have a bit of banter with people because you're not worried about anything.
Yeah.
Your delivery is easier and
Delivery has got so much easier. I think you worry about it so much when you start, but you need to let go of that worry because it is fun. For me, I find it now just enjoyable to do it. You're connecting with people. And these are people that are your ideal clients that come to hear you. And actually, I sell at the end of it. I don't know if that's what everybody does, but I actually do my sales pitch every time. So I feel like, as Richard told me, you're launching every week rather than launching once a quarter. I feel like I launch every week. And people hear my sales pitch maybe 5 times and book a call, but they're already sold by the time they've booked a call. So that really does help.
Like, and one of the other kind of concerns that people had was not sure about kind of how this works for us or our unique situation. So in terms of a flagship group drop-in type clinic style, you know, accelerator model, that was not done at all in your space. No. Were you concerned about that?
I wasn't concerned initially. I just set it up.
And also moving from not doing one-to-one as well. So removing your one-to-one as well. So that whole kind of transition to the power of one.
I think I wasn't worried because I like to think outside the box. There's always a different way of doing something. I don't want to offer what everybody else offers. And I know that divorce is a really tough thing. And when you've got someone clinical sitting in front of you, it makes it that much harder. So when you've got personal experience, you can bring something so much more. So for me, setting up that accelerator wasn't tough. I knew that it was needed. And I tested it on a few people and they loved it. The tough bit came when people weren't buying later. You know, it's great. You set it up. You're all excited. It's looking lovely. And then nobody buys. And you don't know what to do when that happens. Yeah. Then you're stuck.
Then you're stuck. And then how did you get unstuck? How did that unstuck
The
yourself?
weekly moment. I have to say the weekly moment was absolutely the thing. And I was so scared of it because I thought it was too much work. But once you get into that rhythm and it's set up, you don't need to worry. So my year plan already has got all my weekly moments plotted in, exactly what I'm talking about. All the setup is done. The automation is done for it a year in advance. So I don't need to worry.
So when I say you rock up for a room full of people, you know, do you?
Yeah, just rock up.
Yeah?
Yeah, love it.
Good stuff.